Fanatic Brackets Season 3, Episode 6. I am Nick, your host. With me, as always, is my co-host, Joel.
Yo.
Today, for the month of June, we are joined by one and only Wrestle Lia. How are you, Leah? How's everything?
I am good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Glad to have you on. Glad to have you on. This is an exciting
Definitely.
topic. We were just talking about it right before we recorded.
Yeah.
The topic of GMs, something that we haven't done before. Um, so the reasoning for this, you just, I know we were talking about that too before as well. Just all the topics were taken. So this was also an interesting one. GMs are very important to wrestling. Not that I realized that there was quite some time that like we didn't have GMs
Yeah,
for a while. I was thinking about that too. For most of the pandemic era was no GM,
that
right?
is very true.
What a time.
Yeah, for the
Yeah.
times. Yeah. So it's cool that they brought back the GMs. GMs are doing good so far. So
So
for
far, so
those,
good.
yeah, so far so good. Can't complain about these GMs. But for those listening who have not listened to an episode before, I'm going to explain the rules before we get into the bracket. So we each are going to go matchup by matchup, giving our thoughts and opinions on who we think is the better GM between the two. Obviously, including our reasonings on why. Whichever participant gets 2 or 3 votes between the three of us, move on to the next round until we reach the finals. It's an opinion-based show. There's no right or wrong way to look at give our reasonings why. Whether it's a personal favorite, who did a better job, better moments, all those can take into effect. So there's no right or wrong way to look at it. But yeah, since that's out the way, let's get right into the bracket. Leah, because you are a guest, we're going to start off with you with the first matchup. In your opinion, which one was the better GM, Mick Foley or Eric Bischoff?
Okay. Well, let's see. I think I'm going to go straight to the point. I'll just say Eric Bischoff, but I'll backtrack and say because Mick Foley, it's not even the duration of how long each of these individuals were the managers, more so like what they contributed for me. And I would say Mick Foley just gives loving, like, I don't know, just like a sweet, cuddly bear, just a big grizzly bear. You just want to hug, and it's just like he gives like loving, caring. I want to make sure the fans are happy. As long as my staff is good, I'm good vibes. And Eric, he didn't care at all. So he gave. I feel like for me at least, he gave a lot more fun. You don't know what to expect to the show type energy, and like even with the whole trial when he was fired, I mean that whole segment alone is crazy.
A
So
thousand percent.
yeah,
Good pick. Good pick. No, Joel, I already know your answer. We were talking about this too.
Yeah,
But
it's
would
it's
you?
Bischoff, and just because Mick Foley debuted the Universal title, that's why he's getting no vote from me. No, but also Eric Bischoff, I think was, I think he is the standard for what a GM is now. When he first came into WWE, he was like, he's he was like the example of what all GMs want to be like.
Mhm.
And being in great storylines and introducing like Evolution, the heavyweight belt again, Elimination Chamber, having introducing 30-minute warning. There's a lot on his resume, so I gotta go with Bischoff.
I mean, I'm going to agree with both of you. I'm going to do a clean sweep and choose Eric Bischoff. I feel like he was one of the very few GMs that had a character to him. You know, like when I kind of what you're saying, Leah, with Mick Foley, it's like he just seems like he was just himself. You know, um,
Very true.
Bischoff had moments where it was just, you know, great. He was inserted into great storylines. He played a great arrogant heel. You knew his backstory before he even got to WWE, so you kind of already knew who he was. And he played that very, very well into making people want to hate him and doing all this stuff throughout his career. So, I mean, that's what makes you can't just be a GM and be all plain and boring and be like, yeah, he's just so and so versus so and so tonight.
Yeah,
You got to do like insert yourself into a story, make yourself hateable or lovable. You can't just be like Mick Foley, just be yourself, which is not a bad thing, but he didn't do much, character wise to make you, want to watch the show every week. He just felt like he was just behind the scenes doing the stuff, pulling the strings, making the match together. So, and what you said about the Universal title, probably the worst title in history.
yeah. I even
Didn't
forgot. So I forgot he was a GM till I saw the list, and I saw his name there. I was like, really? I thought about it, and that was the first like picture I saw him with the Universal title.
I just think that Brian just did a better job during that time to where like people forgot that Mick Foley was even GM.
Yeah,
In my opinion,
1000%.
he
That's
blew him out the park. So it was like, no way you can compete with Daniel Bryan as GM.
That is very true.
So yeah, I was gonna say that before, but I was like, let me just wait till we record this to say that, so that way. But yeah, I think Eric Bischoff, he added such a great presence to every Monday night, right? It was Raw, yeah.
Yeah.
So he added great presence to every Monday night. So I'm gonna go with that, Eric Bischoff. So Eric Bischoff moves on to the next round. Next matchup we have Adam Pearce and Paige. Joel. Also, I think this could be easy for you.
It's Adam Pearce. Do you want me to give a reason, or like,
If you
are we
want
kind
to.
of like on the same page? Are we on the same page?
Get it.
I don't know. I just feel like Paige wasn't GM long enough and wasn't really like in any big moments or like storylines. So that's why I'm giving it to Pierce. I think he's just been incredible since he's been a GM and actually like being a figure on TV and having that authority. So I'm gonna go with Pierce.
Okay, good pick. Leah, do you agree with him, or are you gonna go with Paige?
I do. For me, Paige, kind of the same. Like she was in a way, I feel like for the people, but I didn't get enough from like who she is in terms of being a general manager. I felt like it was more like I'm a heel. I'm not a heel. I'm a face, and the fans love me already with her own backstory, but it wasn't really given for me a lot general manager wise. So I would say Adam. He's doing a lot better in from that perspective.
I would agree. I mean, there was a point where I also genuinely forgot that Paige was even a general manager. It was just, I think it was just a few months or something.
Yeah, it was really
There
quick.
it wasn't that much to really give a reason why she was good. There was not much to show for it, but I think Adam Pearce so far has been doing a great, solid job as an authority figure. Even though his shows, I hate when he says like, "Oh, chaos makes something to do with chaos every week and making that good TV." Um, to me, I feel like if you're having chaos like backstage brawls and stuff like that every week, that's not good GMing. That's not a way to handle a show if you can't control your people. But so far, the way he's been booking, I know technically it's the writers that book it, but the way he's portraying the announcements of matches and stuff like that's been pretty good. Um, I just feel like even too, like I don't remember where he showed up. You remember, like he just for me on my TV, he just randomly showed up on TV and it's like, oh, this is Adam Pearce, now he's a GM.
Yeah.
So it just felt very weird just to have him be on TV from one week to another and just all of a sudden he's GM, which is a good thing. I'm not saying that in a bad way, but it's just the way he was introduced was pretty cool, quietly, and he's been doing a great job as GM, and I'm kind of messing with that. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Adam Pearce on that one. Another clean sweep. And he moves on to the next round. I'm gonna start this one off. Next matchup: Stephanie McMahon
Kick it
and
off.
Daniel Bryan. Bouncing what I said with Mick Foley, Daniel Bryan did have a phenomenal 2016 through 2018. Probably one of the most and best SmackDown years in recent memory. Doing the whole thing with Shane McMahon and the land of opportunity, giving people opportunity to wrestle on the show, and having the whole 2016 Survivor Series, and eventually into his return. I think it's very memorable to say that he was able to book good shows, because I think from the mind of a wrestler, a good wrestler, he was able to, like I said, book a great product on TV that the fans want to see. Did he have help with Shane? Yeah, I get that. But I think that, he, like I said, it was just a memorable SmackDown. Instead of in the women's division was definitely booked a lot better than the women's division on Raw, and a lot better than Raw than that time. So it was just the favorite show to watch during 2016 to 2018. So it really showed how much effort he put into that show. So I'm going to go with Daniel Bryan on that one. Joel, who do you have, Stephanie McMahon or Daniel Bryan?
I'm going with Stephanie McMahon.
Really?
I'm guessing this is Stephanie McMahon SmackDown 03. I'm guessing since the authorities are right on the list. I just liked her vibe back then. I think she was a cool babyface GM, especially going up against Bischoff at that time, and the kind of the dynamic they had of him being the super heel GM, her being the super baby face. They would watch the pay-per-views together. She was very involved in storylines, especially going against Vince in that street fight, which if you watch it now, it's kind of like crazy watching back on it of how they had that match. But yeah, I just really liked her as a baby face. I loved Brian. I feel like he wasn't as involved as Stephanie. And to me, I just like more GMs that are more involved into storylines. I get it. He was injured. Like, you can't really do anything. It wasn't until the end where he had that comeback at Mania, which was awesome. But I don't know. I just have a special place in my heart for Stephanie as a babyface GM.
Okay. Okay. Wow, we're putting Lia in a hot seat already
In
with
the
this
hot
one.
seat early.
Who do you have, Stephanie McMahon or Daniel Bryan?
And it's funny because I was going to say Daniel, but he just gave such a good. Oh man, I should have went second. Okay, so I don't know now. I'm gonna go Stephanie because the exact reason he just said, like, she was a lot more hands-on, given he was injured. But I do really like a hands-on manager, and she checks the boxes for me in that category. It was fun to watch, and then again, just watching her in the trial, like, I'm gonna go Stephanie.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also helping a lot with that John Cena character as a rapper. She was in a lot of segments in him trying to boost up that character, and it helped a lot.
Yeah, I guess.
We love Brian, though. We love Brian.
Yeah, but she also did not put a good Raw in 2016 on. So
yeah, but that's not what it says. She's part of the
I know.
authority,
I was joking. But yeah, I don't know. I just thought Daniel Bryan was he wasn't as bad. I get it. Like,
nah, he wasn't
in terms of hands on. Yeah, but like, I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know. Maybe I just wasn't that much of a watcher at the time Stephanie McMahon was GM. So
no, yeah,
maybe I wasn't hands on.
I think it was one of those things that more seeing it live is more enjoyable than hearing about it or going back and watching it.
Yeah. So it's two different things. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, Stephanie McMahon does move on to the next round. Next matchup we have William Regal. I'm assuming NXT. Going up against Kurt Angle. Lia, I'm going to start with you with this one, so that way you're not in the hot seat. Which one do you think is a better GM between these two?
Oh man, I'm gonna say Kurt. I really enjoyed William in NXT. I thought he did a great job. It's just Kurt, like, it's Kurt Angle. I mean, the "you suck" chants, and he just goes out there and has a good time. I will say though, that storyline with his son was a bit. I could have lived without that, but besides them, act like that didn't happen for this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Kurt.
Pretend we didn't say that. Yeah, Joel, who do you have, William Regal or Kurt Angle?
I love William Regal. He was a great GM in NXT. He was also a way too serious GM for me in NXT. Gotta go with Kurt. Based on just him being more hands-on and actually having a character and being charismatic and having a sense of humor, doing questionable storylines like Leo called out with the whole Jason Jordan thing. I just think it was more enjoyable. William Regal did a great job. He was during that impactful moment of the black and gold brand for NXT. He did amazing. And just in my opinion, I look at it more of what did they do as a GM. Because of course, came out, he did the War Games thing. He was a good GM. He kept everybody in line. But also, we never saw anything other than that. He was just always mad all the time when we would see him. Or he was introducing a new character. Other than that, we didn't really see him. Kurt Angle was out there every week. I love the spot where he's whistling and Triple H is just punching. It's moments like that just like, yo, Kurt Angle is a clown, and you gotta give it to Kurt.
Oh man, I think I'm outnumbered here too because I want to go with William Regal.
Shout out Regal, man.
Yeah, because I know, and like you said, like the whole war game stuff, I think that's what people recognize him more. But the way I look at it is who books the best TV product at that time.
Yeah.
For a while, even during Kurt Angle's time as GM, NXT was a better show than Raw.
Oh, 1000%.
So
Yeah.
even though he wasn't really on screen a lot, he booked the better matches for the fans to watch.
Yeah.
Even though, yes, like I said before, it's like it's not really technically them booking the matches. It's
Yeah. But
creative.
you know
They're
what?
just there to announce it.
We know what you mean, Nick. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
but it's like it's still cool for like really Regal deserved his flowers. You know what I
Nah,
mean?
he
He was
definitely
still
does.
he was
He
just
did
as
an amazing job.
yeah, just as much as Triple H during the Black and Gold era. William Regal gets the same exact credit as being a huge part of that programming.
Yeah.
So I love Kurt Angle, but I just didn't like seeing him on my screen. I don't think he was the best GM there was.
Yeah.
For Raw. So besides the whole it's Jason Jordan thing, him retiring to Baron Corbin.
Yeah, that was bad.
That was bad, and I didn't. That was during the worst parts of Raw. 2019 was the worst year of Raw I've ever seen in my life.
Definitely.
Guess who was in charge of that? It was Kurt Angle. So I don't know. I just feel like that wasn't the best time to watch Raw.
But he did have the most interesting time when he was on TV. He was must-see TV. He was funny, man. You gotta at least give him that. He was one of the bright lights of Raw at that time.
And what
I
does
was
that
like,
tell
all
you
right,
about the
Kurt's
GM?
coming out doing something.
You know what I mean? That the GM was the highlight of the Raw instead of your top
That's
dog.
bad. Yeah, that's bad.
That's bad. That's bad.
That's bad. But he did his job. He at least kept
Yeah.
you entertained. You know what I mean? When he was on screen. And we love Regal over here. I mean, think about Regal. Regal is the heart and soul of NXT. I will always say that. I will never stop saying that. He left and NXT died. He came back and look at NXT now.
Yeah.
We love Regal over here. But just I look at it like that on screen. We look at it different, but that's how I got to Angle.
Yeah, I understand.
We show love.
We show love to both of these guys. But I guess Kurt Angle's moving on to the next round. That's not who I would have chosen. But anyways, this is an interesting matchup because Joel, you and I had a discussion with this matchup before Leah got on the call.
Outvote me on this one.
Yeah, I wanna start off with you, Leah, on this one too, so that way Joel and I can.
Oh no.
Joel can. Oh, see, no, Joel. I'm gonna start with you. Sorry, Leah, my apologies.
Kick it off?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anonymous GM. The Anonymous GM was such an interesting time. It was a fun time. Was the payoff cool? No. Was there stupid moments? Yes. But the Anonymous GM kept things rolling and kept things interesting. We talked before we got on here and we talked about how it was Hornswoggle and that we're not talking about how it ended. We're talking about leading up to it being a big part of the Michael Cole heel turn. The Anonymous GM played an important part. No shots at Ava. I just think the Anonymous GM time period was very fun and interesting. Again, there was a lot of bad times, but that's with everything. Not everything's gonna be perfect and clean. Not even like Bischoff's run. You know what I mean? Like no one has a clean slate. But personally, I'm going Anonymous GM.
Okay, fair points, Leah. I don't mean to cut you off
And I
before
quote,
those.
baby. And I quote.
Who do you have, Leah, Ava, or Anonymous GM?
Boy, so for me, Ava, she's grown on me. I will give her that, and no disrespect to either one. But she's definitely grown on me over time. When she first came into the picture, I was like, I don't know, like how's this gonna go? But she's definitely grown on me. With the Anonymous GM, like that whole timeline was like like a fever dream. Like especially the end. I'm gonna say it. Wait, don't click yet. Wait.
I won't. Take your time.
Yeah, this is tough.
This is tough. This is one of the ones I kind of had my answer. I was leaning more towards Ava, but then I started thinking, word, I'm gonna go Anonymous, just because of that whole time frame. It was what a time. Like it was definitely a fever dream with the ending, but I enjoyed the timeline of that. And I like Ava. I don't dislike her. I think she's getting better every week.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my vote.
I mean, I want to go with Ava because I like Joel said, like I did not enjoy the fact that out of the whole entire story of the computer being there, it was just Hornswoggle. I felt with that it was just like, hold this, let me just pick a name out of a hat, and that's the GM.
Oh,
Like Horns,
1000%. That's what they
out
do.
of out of the entire roster, they could have chosen anybody else, but they went with Hornswoggle out of all people. And again, like you said, Lee, it just felt like a whole fever dream to her. It's like that actually happened. A computer was telling people what to do. Was it different and creative? I'll give it that because it wasn't a person, you know. But I think that Ava going from competitor to GM, I just think that was like a smooth transition for her to get out of that competitor picture. Not saying she was a terrible wrestler. It was just I think that she needed a change, and this was the perfect change for her to do. Was to take charge. NXT just been doing numbers on TV. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm also basing it off of. If people watching it every week, again, I know it's not her physically booking the matches. She's just being told to say it because it's the writing team and all that stuff. But I think for her booking consistently good TV and booking these matches and storylines, you got to give her a lot of credit. Same thing with Anonymous GM. It was during a time when Raw was stacked. And they had a great roster during 2009 to 2011 or 2010, whatever the year was. But I just feel like Ava's getting better, like you said, Leah, and she's going to get better going forward. The anonymous GM thing, which is a whole letdown for me, and that kind of ruined the whole computer thing. Was can I have your attention or whatever Michael Cole said in the beginning? Was that iconic? Cool, yeah, it was awesome. But I don't know. I just feel like Ava is doing a much more of a job and actually has more of a presence, GOL, like you said.
I mean, he used to beep in the middle of matches, man. The lights were just boop, boop.
Yeah, but he was already outside.
We got an IM. We got an IM.
Yeah, I know.
Yo, what a time. Nah, shout out Ava. Like, this is one of those that we always talk about. Ask me in 2 years, answer might be different. But right now, looking at it, it's just, for me, the anonymous GM. Love Ava, though. She's doing a great job on that next
She is.
She's really found her footing in that role.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like you both said, like at the beginning, it was like, how's this going to transition? How's it going to...
Yeah.
But she really found her footing.
I think Ava could possibly be a GM of Raw or SmackDown on the line.
To be honest, that should happen soon. Let her get the call up.
Yeah.
That'd be dope.
I mean...
And then and then it'll also build that dynamic of a male GM and a female GM.
Yeah, because it looks like all this is going to be an in-ring competitor. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know, depending on what the whole Randy situation is.
Yeah.
But if all this is going to be full-time competitor, just call up Ava. That's
true.
the perfect person to take over the role. She's doing a great job.
Oh man, full-time Aldis? Shout out Aldis, man.
I know you're a big fan of it, Joel. I know you're.
Shout out Aldis. I can't wait. I'm gonna.
He says that sarcastically.
He's front row when Nick Aldis comes back. The greatest NWA champion of all time. Come on, man. That's Aldis.
Oh God. But yeah, anonymous GM does move on to the next round. All of my picks are going.
This is interesting. This is interesting how this is going. It's okay.
Yeah.
I think your next one is gonna be good though.
I hope so.
I think your next one's gonna be good.
Yeah. So I mean, I hope y'all don't choose the other person, but let me start this one off. I'll start this one off. With the Authority versus Booker T, I'm gonna go with the Authority. I just feel like they were such a great heel group that every time you hear them come out, immediately instant boos. And they just started making decisions like weekly that made you hate them. Like Eric Bischoff, he just wanted to see the people like suffer. Like you just say, oh, this person versus this person, that's not happening. It's gonna be so yeah. So they made you hate them, and I think that heel GMs are the perfect way to go because they're trying to not make you enjoy TV, but at the same time they kind of are in a way. The storylines that they were in, we were discussing this too, Joel. The whole Daniel Bryan thing, the whole Authority thing, kind of made Daniel Bryan that story. It's the Sting thing was like that could be like I don't need to remember that type of thing.
But it brought Sting in. Sting in.
Yeah, but the whole Survivor Series story, greatest Survivor Series story, the Survivor Series in general, in my opinion, that's one of the greatest there is. but they brought great moments. Even though they were brought in to be hated, they were also making great moments, and it was a memorable 2 years as them being the authority figure. Made Seth Rollins, you know, and then like, it was just a fun time to be with watching the authority every week. They were great as heels, but also brought great entertainment and did a lot with the company. So that was a great time to be a GM in a way. They weren't considered GMs, but they were like it says the authority. But they had the power against everybody. So that all was fun about seeing them every week. Booker T, like I said before we recorded, I forgot he was GM for a bit. It was like 1 year, I think.
No way, you forgot about that.
It was that was not I think that was a year where I almost stopped watching. I did stop watching WWE because of this. Not specifically Booker T, but like
it was just a bunch of stuff on top of it.
Yeah, it was like, what are they doing here? But I did not like that time of wrestling, so I just try to like,
block it out.
Yeah, block it out of my head.
Got you.
So that I'm not going to choose Booker T. I'm going to choose Lia to go next because I don't want her to put in the hot seat anymore. Lia, who do you think, the Authority or Booker T was a better GM?
Oh my gosh, I love me some Booker, but I'm going the Authority. That was the longest 2 years. That said, 2 years. I mean, they have me feeling some type of way every day, and they didn't even come on TV every day. I was like, this is crazy. I mean, there's always a plan B. Like, really, it was just so many big moments.
Iconic line.
Yeah, so many big moments. We have, Daniel Bryan, like you mentioned, Triple H, Randy, that whole segment. I mean, Nikki turning on her sister with Steph.
Yes.
They were not playing, so they had some heavy hitting moments. I'm gonna go with the Authority.
Yeah, I forgot about that one too. I was like, damn, that happened with Stephanie in the beginning of that.
I totally forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of great storylines during those 2 years. Damn, that's insane.
That time period was really fun.
It was. It was. Yeah. Joel, do you agree, Authority or Booker T?
I didn't think it was gonna go this way. I actually got Booker. Nah, no shot.
I
saw this list. I must have been already zoned out because I didn't even know Booker was GM. I had to look this up. I didn't think this was a thing. I thought you messed up on the list, to be honest. I was like, there's no way Booker was a GM. I found out the tough way. He was a GM. Yeah, it's the Authority. You guys pretty much made all the points. Like I said before we started recording, without the Authority, I don't know if we get the Daniel Bryan we had. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he goes to that level without having the machine to go against.
Yeah.
So they played a
and
big
the fans
part.
to go behind him too. It was the fans that also.
Yeah, because you also needed them the fans to turn on someone, and the Authority were easy to hate.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Clean sweep and the Authority goes to the next round.
Booker T, that's funny.
Yeah, that was a wreck. Me too. I was trying to think of like what did he do as GM, and then one of the first clips was like, there's also it feels like a fever dream, but like one of the first videos I saw on YouTube was like Big Show knocking out Ricardo Rodriguez, and then Booker T was just there, and I was like, this happened, and then Santino faced Sheamus, I think.
All right, get this guy off this list. Get it out of here.
Yeah, that's why I was like, this happened in 1 year?
Thank goodness he got swept. That's insane. He was making good TV, I guess.
It felt like a fever dream, but it happened. But shout out Booker, I guess, if he was GM. That was cool.
Shout out Booker.
But yeah, we move on to the next round. Teddy Long and Vicky Guerrero. This is an interesting one. Joel, I want to start off with you with this one. Who do you think is a better GM?
I think this is one of the toughest ones on this list in the first round. Because they match up so well, and they both ran SmackDown. I love Teddy throwing people into tag matches, always putting people in the main event against Undertaker. It was always a fun time. He'll come on and do his dance. He was a fun GM.
Yeah, he was a vibe,
He was a fun GM. And they got Vicky Guerrero, who was the total opposite. And was super heel. They made La Familia. She was with Edge. That was an interesting time. I'm gonna go for the fun aspect. I'm going Teddy Long because Teddy was always a vibe when he was on TV. He still is. I mean, he's just one of those guys that's like you hear the music as like, oh man,
you want to do the dance,
like you do the little Shout out my son Teddy, man. But yeah, love Vicky. It was a good time with her. Teddy was it was really fun watching him. And then, of course, the People Power versus Team SmackDown. It was a lot going on during Teddy's reign. So I gotta go
Yeah.
Teddy.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Leah, who do you have, Teddy Long or Vicky Guerrero?
I'm going Teddy. They definitely match up 50-50 even. I mean, I liked him just as much as I disliked her. So
True, that is true.
That's a good
I
one.
will take I'll take Playa, Hala Playa over
Yeah.
Excuse Me. That even when she came out for the Royal Rumble, it was like a flashback and I was like PTSD when she was screaming the mic. Oh my gosh, excuse me. Thanks. In other words. I will take Teddy, but I love Vicky. She's really good at what she did. I disliked her, which is she's doing her part. So but I'm going Teddy. It was fun and it was a vibe, like he said. He's so fun to watch. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Teddy Long too, clean sweep. I just feel like he was such a fun, a fan favorite for WWE fans. You like you said, like when you heard the music, something was gonna go down. Like whether it was against the Undertaker or some, all-star level match, that was gonna happen. I feel like it's just like with the excuse me thing. I kind of agree with what you said, Leah. Just as much as you love Teddy, you hate Vicky just as much. When I heard the excuse me thing, she didn't have a theme song too, so it was like,
no, it was just her screaming.
yeah. When you heard the excuse me, you just wanted to turn the TV off, and it was like, But Teddy, you wanted to see what he was gonna do, you know. That was the complete opposite between these two. It was like, you just love Teddy. There was a brief moment he was ECW general manager, but also didn't feel like it was real.
Yes, I forgot about that.
It was the new ECW, like the newer one. It was like, oh, he did that.
It was when they got the silver belt, right? When they changed it to the silver belt.
Mark Henry was the champion.
Yes. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Shout out Teddy, man.
There's like a whole flashback episode. We're just talking about old
They were
memories.
like, you're right there Tuesdays. Just be GM of both. Like, there you go.
Yeah,
pretty
much. Yeah,
here. You're ready.
Pretty much. Yeah. So was he both at the same time, or was it just ECW? Wasn't it Vicky at SmackDown?
Yes, that's why he made the jump. Yes, it was because of Vicky. Oh my goodness.
But he was still a good GM. Like people loved him. His theme song was catchy. Even till this day, you hear the theme song. It's like, oh, Undertaker must be here too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I feel like when you ask people about GMs, the first name they bring up is Teddy.
That is, yeah. He's Hall of
just
Famer
synonymous with that role. Like, who's general manager? Teddy Long.
Yeah, like kind of like what I was saying earlier with the heel GMs. It was like they want to see the fans suffer. I think with Teddy Long, he wanted to see the heel suffer, so he would always put the heels in tough situations, like Undertaker,
1-on-1 with the Undertaker,
and the whole Taker story. It was like the whole Taker story with the limousine. He just buckle up, Teddy. People always memorize that, and it's like that was a fun story. And he was also involved a lot too.
Yeah, he was involved a lot. Yo, shout out Teddy, man.
My guy Teddy is always he's so fun. He was so fun. But shout out Teddy. Clean. That's obviously a clean sweep. Shout out Vicky too. Vicky was also
she was
love to hate.
Yeah,
that's so annoying, man.
She was a great heel manager.
She was.
She definitely was.
And that Edge storyline too, where apparently he cheated on her and they were gonna get married.
Oh man, that was such a great story.
That was soap opera, our version of soap operas. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yeah.
They had the hidden camera. What a time, man.
Yeah, Triple H had the hidden camera. It was right in front of their faces.
That storyline. Oh my god. Yeah.
The camera was right there, and I didn't see it, and I was like, "Oh, there you go. They cheated. Cool." But yeah, Teddy Long moves on to the next round. Next matchup, last matchup in the first round, we got Nick Aldis and John Laurinaitis. People power. Don't remind me of that. That's also annoying for us. But I'm gonna start this one off though. I'm gonna go with Nick Aldis because I feel like he's doing a good job. I don't mean this because you hate him, Joel. I genuinely mean this.
He's a good GM. He's a good GM.
He's good. I just feel like I forget he was a wrestler. He's doing such a good job at GM that I don't want to see him wrestle again. He should be no, I don't mean that in a negative way because I know you hate him, Joel. But I mean his
I don't hate the guy.
You hate the wrestler. You hate the wrestler.
He's just boring. But okay, yeah, keep going.
Yeah, but it's he's just doing a good job to where I don't want him to see him go if the plan is for him to wrestle. He shouldn't wrestle again. Maybe if he wants to, he's still young. He's still in his 30s, so why not? It's like it's just I don't know. I just feel like he was. Part of me feels like he was introduced as GM to get into that in-ring role again. This was like his introduction to WWE fans, but at the same time, it's like he's doing a good job. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. There's nothing to fix here with him as GM. He's doing a phenomenal job. Again, I feel like he's doing a better job than Pierce at the moment. Even with the 2-hour SmackDown, he was booking the show in a shorter time and making it better than Raw is. So even a 3-hour SmackDown is better than a 3-hour Raw, in my opinion. But I just feel like Aldis is doing a much better job and doing a phenomenal job. John Laurinaitis, again, his voice, I just hate hearing it.
Come on, Nick, people power.
It's like I for a while I thought he was sick. I was like, why isn't he taking medicine for his voice? I'm like, is he not going to get better?
You don't need water, buddy? Maybe
Yeah,
some water.
It sounds like you were talking all day. I don't understand.
Like he's a coach or something.
Yeah, he
all
was
night
like
at a game.
Yeah, it's like he's just cheering.
He sounds like Thibodeau after the Knicks game. It's like, I get him. He's screaming all game. You're not even doing nothing, Laurinaitis.
Yeah, it's like, what are you doing, bud? Someone get this guy some medicine or something. I don't know, but he was also someone that was easy to hate. That moment when he got fired by Vince after Cena beat him in a match. It was a Big Show he beat in a match. That steel cage. It was Cena versus somebody, and then Laurinaitis got fired from.
You see how forgettable it is?
Yeah, yeah, very, very. But I just feel like Aldis he's by a mile a way better GM than John Laurinaitis was. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Aldis. Lia, who do you think is a better GM, Nick Aldis or John Laurinaitis?
Going Aldis. John is like,
let's go.
I can pass on all of that. All of what he came with, I can pass on. He even fired JR. I remember that segment. And
yes,
you gotta go yourself. You don't need to be firing anybody. You need to be the next on the list if you do. So I can live without that. I'm gonna go with Nick. He's got this vibe the fans just connect with. Like, I like him as a GM. I in a way almost forget, if I'm gonna just look at him, I do almost forget that I'm gonna consider him technically still a wrestler. He's a wrestler. I just think he's doing a really good job. He just has this connection. If I'm gonna look at like him and Pierce, I feel like is more over with the fans, and I don't know. I like Nick. I'm gonna go him.
Yeah, I don't know if it's because he's British, but he looks gentlemanly like. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like he looks like he's a gentleman. Yeah. All he needs is the eyeglasses. Like,
he's got that vibe to him.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's it. But Joel, who do you have?
He's like a cool boss versus like Pierce, who's like uptight and like, oh no, like I might get fired if I blink.
Yeah. I feel like I was on Chelsea Green's side when she hated Pierce. I was like, yeah, I'm going with Chelsea Green. Nick Aldis seems much nicer to deal with.
Chelsea.
Yeah, you're right, Chelsea. Yeah,
making some good points.
Yeah, exactly. Joel, do you think Nick Aldis or John Laurinaitis?
It's people power. Nah, it's definitely Nick Aldis. John Laurinaitis was neither good or bad at his job. Like, he was just there.
Yeah.
He was just there. He was like in like semi big storylines. He was never like an important role on Raw. He was just always there. Nick Aldis has a presence though. Like, I think he found his footing with being the GM. Like, he just has that vibe to him of the authority figure. To be honest, if he's gonna start wrestling again, I think they should trade him for Ava and let him go to NXT. Because I feel like there he would have more of authority because he's older than everybody. He's kind of bigger than everybody too. And he could also help put over younger talent without having to wrestle every week. You know what I mean? Like, you could just pull him out for special matches. I think his role would be really cool. And then it also gets Ava to the main roster. I mean, you can't look at it as like a push down for Aldis, but like he could help the young talent. But he's such a good GM. I'm going with Aldis on this one. Yeah,
he is. I know. But Nick Aldis moves on, another clean sweep. Now second round.
Oof.
This gets a little tough. Maybe not. I don't know. But we got first matchup in the second round. Eric Bischoff against Adam Pearce. Joel, I'm gonna start with you. This one, who do you think is a
Bischoff.
better GM?
It's Bischoff. It's
No,
Bischoff. I kind of gave everything in the first round. He is the standard of what a GM is. A great heel GM. So many
yeah,
storylines he brought in. Also had a sense of humor and could show his comedy side when Stone Cold became co-GM. So like he did a lot. He did a lot, and you could hate him, laugh at him. You know what I mean? Like it was a fun time with Bischoff. Pierce, he's a great GM, but of course he's like more of an uptight GM as you
yeah,
spoke about before, and he doesn't really have like a character to him. He's just a GM. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like we all know it's Pierce, like, but they don't really let him shine. He's just a GM. I wish they
yeah.
gave him more opportunity to like show his personality and stuff. I feel like every time we go to him, he's just making a match,
I
or you
feel
know what
like
I
he's
mean? Like
always. I feel like Pierce is always stressed. You know
yeah,
what I mean? That's the only thing I see him in is stressed.
Maybe
and
that
my
is
Um,
his character.
yeah,
yeah,
that's his
maybe that's
character
the character
exactly.
he has.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's just a stressed
yeah,
out dude.
Yeah, he is.
exactly. He always needs a drink. You know what I mean? That he always says that he needs a drink.
He needs a drink.
It's fun. Yeah. Uh, but yeah, he's Eric Bischoff. Leah, do you agree? If Bischoff or Adam
I
Pierce?
do. I'm going Eric. He's a lot more colorful. He's a lot more just. He's not like a blank canvas. And
Yeah,
Adam is just like just black and white in a way. And I don't know if they've. I don't. Obviously, we don't know what goes on behind the scenes. But I hope maybe they're thinking of giving him more personality in a way because he's always stressed. His hands are always here. Like, oh my gosh,
yeah,
Yeah,
what's happening? And I don't know. He's always just like he said, stressed and just I'm here so I can get paid, because I have bills to
basically.
pay.
yeah. Pretty much, pretty much. Uh, that's a good point. I'm gonna go with Bischoff too. I mean, I feel like before the 2000s, were there any general managers even before then?
No, he was like the
Don't.
first
y-
standard.
Yeah,
Like before that, we just had Vince, the owner. We just had the
yeah,
owners on TV.
exactly. So I feel like Bischoff was like the first one to really do it and do it well.
Yeah,
So I feel like a lot of people was like, I don't want to say model after him, but like he's at the standard. You were trying to like be as good as he is or better than he was.
yeah,
Because if you again, he was already someone that didn't really he was someone that didn't really need a character because he again when he got there, you knew who he was, the owner of
yeah,
WCW. So he already had heat on him. It was kind of just like a shock, like, oh, they brought in this guy? Like I thought y'all hated him.
yeah,
But then everyone else is telling him immediately. It was like, okay, that we know why. Um, and bounce off with Adam Pierce, like I agree with all of y'all. It's like it just there's nothing to really say about Adam Pierce besides like doing a good job with Raw, but he has no character. Like it's he's a little bit boring, but I don't know if it's because they're not giving him a character or he doesn't want to do a character. Again, the character could be is because that he's stressed a lot.
yeah.
That could be it. Um, but maybe I don't know, maybe not. But I just feel like we need to see more from Adam Pierce. Maybe, like you said before, Joel, maybe in a year or two from now that could change if he does get a character. But I don't see much from him at the moment besides just booking good matches and stuff like that. So
True.
I'm gonna go with Eric Bischoff, another clean sweep from him. Next matchup, we got Stephanie McMahon and Kurt Angle. Joel, I'm gonna start with you. Or
I'm starting
again,
off both. Oh man, this is a tough one. I'm gonna give this one to Stephanie
mm,
for personal reasons. I just loved the babyface Stephanie. I feel like she helped a lot of the young guys on SmackDown kind of like find their character, doing promos with them. Things with John Cena, like we talked about before, Brock Lesnar having segments with like Billy Kidman. Who would have thought? You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
random people getting shine on SmackDown. And she was just fun, like as a big baby face and trying to hold it down and trying to prove her father wrong. Kurt was fun. Kurt was a good time. Kurt, like
yeah,
I said, the first round he was a clown. So it was like we knew he had that sense of humor. He would have moments on Raw. Um, but the product wasn't the best. He was probably one of the, like we talked about in the first round, he was probably one of the highlights on Raw. Um, but I'm gonna have to give it to Stephanie.
okay, okay. Leah, do you agree with him? Is it Stephanie or are you gonna go with Kurt Angle?
Oh man, see, I was gonna say Kurt at first and put you in the hot spot. Now I'm gonna go and say Steph. I think she really fit the mold and she made it her own as well. So I think she did a really good job. I didn't watch it live during that time. I'm gonna say I was too young to watch and like retain and remember. But just looking back and just still getting that vibe, I think she did really good at what she was doing. So I'm going Steph with that. No hate to Kurt. I still love him and he still sucks, but respectively, champ
Yeah.
wise. But yeah, I'm going Steph.
I mean, I'm gonna give it to Kurt, just that Kurt has a
Got
number
the
next to
one.
his name.
Don't go
Yeah, I
zero.
mean, he's like, even though I did say a lot of shit about him last round, I just feel like there was some memorable stuff, but it was just again, I wasn't a fan during the time that Stephanie was GM, so I don't I've seen the videos, but I don't remember don't know the stuff that she went through during the time. It's different watching it live compared to watching it years later.
Yeah.
So it's different to do both. But even though, like I said, I do agree that Kurt Angle and during that time of Raw was not the best years of Raw or in WWE in general. I just feel like there's some stuff that I look back on. It's like, oh yeah, that was cool. It was a fun time. Kurt Angle was a character. He was it is he did incorporate his retirement run. He was kind of doing both. He was wrestling and GM at the same time
Yeah.
for a bit.
That is true. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it was right towards the end. So he was able to. I'm surprised he didn't really book himself into matches at times. Maybe he did, but I don't know. I just feel like Kurt had a. It was just fun at times. I'll give him that. I'll give fun at times, not all the time, but
Definitely. And
sometimes he was fun.
we got that cool moment with him in the Shield gear randomly at like a house show.
He was also a luchador at one time too.
Yeah, shout out Kurt, man.
Yeah,
shout out Kurt. What a guy.
Shout out Kurt. But yeah, 70 man's moving on anyways to the next round. So, my vote didn't matter anyways.
This guy.
Yeah.
Every vote
Yeah.
matters, Nick.
That is true. That is true.
See, he didn't get swept, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't get swept. So there was a one there.
I do see a sweep coming.
maybe. Anonymous GM and the Authority. Leah, I'm going to start with you with this one. Who do you think was the better GM in your opinion?
The Authority. I'm going with them. They for this answer, I'm gonna go to the end, and that's Hornswoggle. That's the last thing I saw when I think about the anonymous GM, and I'm okay on that. I think who's out there? Santino, and like he like bit his butt, and like I don't want that image.
Yeah.
For
that is how that storyline ended.
I'm gonna go with the Authority. I took them more serious, so from start to finish, that is. So I'll go with them.
Perfect. I want to go with them too. Again, the GM, the sound of the computer going off and the lights flickering was also a cool moment because like you were wondering what he's gonna say. That was like his intro song, but it wasn't a song. In a way, because like you knew what was gonna happen. But like I don't know, I just feel like it was a whole like I want to forget the anonymous GM, but it was still cool at the same time. But the Authority was just those 2 years. I wish I would go back and watch it live again. Type of moment. Even though you're supposed to hate them, which I do, but at the same time, it was still brought a lot of moments into wrestling that were cool. The stories are awesome. And it ultimately led to the Evolution return. Batista came back, and Randy Orton came back too. So it was like Evolution / Authority type thing. But it was cool to see them around and have someone to boo at every week. And they did it well. So I'm gonna give it to Authority. Joel, is it a clean sweep?
It's a clean sweep. I love the anonymous GM Authority. That was just a time. Also, they had J&J Security. So whenever I see J&J Security, I gotta give them a point for that. That was a bonus.
I forgot about them too.
That was a bonus.
They were just there to just fucking take bumps.
They were so random when they brought that. I was like, you know what? But it worked. It worked.
Yeah, because it took me a while to realize that was the same Joey Mercury from 10 years ago. I was like, what? That's the same guy? I forgot he was bald.
And we got Jamie Noble on TV again. Like, what?
Yeah.
Who? That would have been the last person. If you told me, like, 5 years before the Authority thing even happened, Jamie Noble's going to come back and be on TV, I would have laughed in your face.
Yeah.
But
and he's going to help the future of wrestling. I'm like, nah, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, no shot. But
no
the Authority, they ran TV at that time. It was fun. It was great television.
It was. It was. Shout out to the and shout out to Hornswoggle. I mean, I'm sure he
Oh
doesn't.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Let's
God.
not think about the payoff. Let's just think about the time
Yeah.
in between.
Sorry. Yeah. That is true. That is true. Last matchup in the second round, we got Teddy
Oh
Long
man.
and Nick Aldis, SmackDown Legends. I want to kick this one off. I know I'm going to go with Teddy Long. He's, I think, one of the greatest GMs of all time. Definitely top two, depending on who you say is the other one. But Teddy Long is up there with the amount of like uh, fan favorites that he has, and a lot of great stories that he had, and how he booked shows, and you know the energy he brought and the character work that he did was so amazing. Nick Aldis, he could do more. Like it's still too early to say he's better than Teddy Long, but um, it's just Teddy Long has always been the guy that people love the most. Even like again, even to this day, I think he returned on one of the Raw specials, and he came out. People still cheer for him as if he was going to announce Undertaker again from 20 years ago. I know. So it was still a fun moment. And he's still a cool guy, and I don't think that love for Teddy Long is going to go away with the fans. So I'm going to go with Teddy Long here. Joel, who do you have? Teddy Long and Nick Aldis?
Yeah, it's Teddy, man. It's Teddy. Nick's a great GM, but I feel like Teddy has done so much. He's so lovable. Nick, like again, like we said, asking a couple years might change to Aldis, but I think Teddy just has that longevity. Um, and like you say, he was GM for a minute, and everybody now you play the music and people get hyped. They see
Yeah.
him in a Hall of Fame, they get hyped. Like all they gotta do is pan to him and show Teddy Long, and the place is gonna go crazy. Like that's how much love the fans got for him.
Yeah.
And you could say, oh, he was a manager and stuff, but everybody like an actual wrestling manager, but everybody remembers him as the SmackDown general manager. So
Oh,
I
of
gotta go
course.
with Teddy.
Of course. Of course. Leah, is it a clean sweep, or do you think Nick Aldis is better?
It's clean. It is clean. Teddy just hits
Ooh.
way different. I do agree that it is very early for Nick, and I think he can reach bigger heights and stuff. But Teddy is he just hits way different.
Yeah, I agree.
That's yeah.
I agree. Teddy Long sweeps this one too.
Look at
Now into the
Teddy,
final.
man.
God, back-to-back sweeps. I mean, this is getting interesting. Now it's getting a
This
little bit
is
harder.
this is yeah,
This is the final four we watch
the
and what we
final
needed.
four. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was inevitable to get this.
Yeah, it was. It was. Jesus. You know what? First matchup in the semifinals, Eric Bischoff versus Stephanie McMahon. Joel, we'll start with you. Who do you think was the better
Whew.
GM?
We are going with Eric Bischoff. I love Stephanie's time. I've been praising her for 2 rounds, but Bischoff, I keep saying it, he is the standard of what a general manager is. He brought so much to that role. Like Nick said, he already had heat from WCW, so he didn't even have to change his character or anything. He was just the same guy, same arrogant heel, and it just worked perfectly. And then, of course, like when I was younger, it just pissed me off when he would bring in the WCW guys and they would get automatic title shot. You know what I mean? Like he just had that role that even though they didn't say it, that's why they would get the shot because
Yeah.
they were Bischoff's guy. And he knew how to play that role. Again, showing a sense of humor with Stone Cold and um, putting on like actually doing stuff in comedy and like the mud wrestling match and
Yeah.
all that like funny stuff that's like wow, like he really went into that role and was like, I'm gonna try to be the best. So I gotta give it to Bischoff. I love Stephanie's time. It was amazing, especially her being like Vince's daughter, and it's so crazy like how she could flip from being a heel and a baby face just by how Vince treats her. So because Vince wanted her to fail as a GM, she became a baby face and everyone loved her. That was
Yeah.
just the reason because Vince wanted to see her fail. She was with the authority and everybody hated her. You know what I mean? It's just so crazy how it's so easy to just flip that switch with just Vince supports her or doesn't, and it depends if she's a baby face or not. But it was a great time. Her and Bischoff were there at the same time, so that dynamic was awesome. But gotta go with Bischoff.
Oof. Good pick. Good pick. Leah, do you agree with him, or are you gonna go with Stephanie McMahon?
Yeah, I'm going Eric on this one. Gosh, he's just such a believable heel. Like you're just really not liking this guy. Anything he does, even just him looking at you, breathing and just existing, just makes me like, I don't like you. He
Yeah.
was a great heel, amazing. I'm going with Eric, and shout out to Steph though. She always holds it down. Heel face. I mean, she's doing the thing. So I really enjoy watching her. They're both very believable, and I'm really involved in what they're saying and doing, but I gotta go with Eric on this one. He's definitely a blueprint.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna do the clean sweep here. I'm gonna go with Eric Bischoff too. I mean, I feel like I don't. I mean, did it go hand in hand? Like Stephanie being a good babyface helped out with Eric Bischoff being a good heel. I think he needed
1,000%.
someone. He
Mhm.
Yeah.
needed someone to cheer in order to have a great heel. So I feel like it went hand in hand. But again, you guys are saying like Eric Bischoff was the blueprint to where everyone. I don't say everyone wanted to be like him, but he was the
Yeah.
general manager that you thought of to be like, okay, he was the first one to do it and do it well.
Yeah. Especially if
So
you're a heel manager, like that's probably who you look at. You're like, okay, let's
yeah,
try to get on that road. Not exactly the same exact thing, but let's get on that road and try to
see
do
where it
things that
goes.
way. Yeah.
Yeah, because there were a lot of forgettable ones. Remember what's his name? Oh my God, he was there like
Exactly.
2013, and like he was forgot his that white dude. I
Wait, I
forgot.
know who you're talking about.
Yes,
Jeff
that
Daniel
Harvey, the one that he
Brown.
was like Jeff Harvey. That dude,
yeah with Jeff Harvey. Like what do you
the
mean?
I
Jeff
think
Harvey
he was
dude. He was the GM
Yeah.
like in 2010, 2009, 2010.
Oh
Let me look him up
no,
real quick.
hold
Are
on.
you talking about
I
somebody
know who you're
else?
talking about. It's like
Yeah,
something. I forgot
that
his name.
yeah. You said yeah. He was the guy that turned heel on not turned heel. The guy that cost Ryback the match. Remember
Oh my
the referee
god.
that was yeah.
Brad Maddox.
Yes, there you go. That's the
Yes.
guy. That's the guy.
Oh my god.
that
Yeah.
was a also unforgettable one. He just came to my head like, randomly. But yeah, I mean, like a lot of people try to be like Eric Bischoff. That's why I thought of him. That's why, yeah, because I don't know. I just feel like a lot of not all good heels make good GMs. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, not at all.
um,
Yeah.
Bischoff was one of them that he was the first one, but the best one. So
Very true.
yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Eric Bischoff there as he clean sweeps Stephanie. Um, then we got the second to last matchup. We got the Authority and Teddy Long. I'm gonna go with Joel. Do you want to start this one off?
Yeah,
What do you have?
I fucking hate you, Nick. Oh, God. Damn.
This determines it all.
I
Joel.
love Teddy, man. I do love Teddy. But the Authority played such a pivotal role with where we are today. Oh
Yeah.
man, yeah, I gotta go with the Authority. I love
Ooh.
Teddy though. He should be in the final too, but he just went up against the Authority. It's tough.
Well,
Yeah.
we don't know. We don't know
That is
because
true. That is true. We got
can't
two
just
more
bid
people
it
to
early.
pick. You're
Yeah.
right.
So Leah, I'm gonna give it to you, Leah. Who do you have? The Authority or Teddy Long? I don't know.
You know, and I was going with A, and then you said that. Now I'm going with B. I was going with Teddy at first until you said up until now, and I'm like, dang, it's the Authority. I mean, what they've done has translated literally into now. Like, I'm not saying Daniel Bryan would not be where he is, but the route he took, the Authority
Yeah.
had such a big impact on that. I gotta go the Authority. This is so tough. I'm sorry, Teddy, if you're watching this, you're awesome.
Love Teddy
Yeah.
over here,
Take it
man. We
personal,
love Teddy.
please. No,
Exactly.
but yeah, I gotta go the Authority. Gosh, shout out to Teddy though. Seriously.
Yeah. Damn. Now I'm heartbroken because I thought he was gonna be in the finals.
It's
I
tough. He went up against the Authority. That's a tough one.
yeah. I want to give Teddy Long the one because I feel like
Yeah.
he was a good long term. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like he was around longer, but he was good from start to finish. It
Very
wasn't like
true.
he had a bad year. I know that Authority was only around for 2 years and that was it, but I feel like at some point we would have gotten tired of the Authority to where it was like it's more like go away heat instead of just we naturally hate you.
Yeah.
But I'm glad they stayed around for as long as they did because I think they would have gone in the wrong direction. But Teddy Long was just so lovable. So that
Yeah.
way, he just did a good job for so many. It felt like so many years in a good way. We wanted him around a lot more. But I just think he did a better job for so many years. I mean, I agree with both of you. The Authority did. There was without the Authority, there wouldn't be so many things. They wouldn't be a Seth Rollins. He would have been the Plan B. You know, he
Cash in.
the cat exactly.
Cash in.
With the Authority helping him win the briefcase to so many things after that. So it's like a butterfly effect. If there was no Authority, there wouldn't have been so many people. So I guess that would be a good way to choose it, but I can't see Teddy go out with his
Nah,
feet.
yeah, you can't. I'm really glad you gave him that one.
Thank you for your
Yeah, I
service.
mean, he could have a 2 if you just switch your answer before I click submit, but I don't know.
Nah, it
Yeah,
has to be the Authority. I'm sorry, but I
yeah,
love Teddy though, but it's gotta be the Authority.
yeah. I guess so.
Oh man.
Now we have our final 2, Eric Bischoff and the Authority. I'm gonna go start this one off because I know who's gonna win it already. But I'm just gonna give the 1 to the Authority because I think um, I don't know. I guess it's because I was around for them over Bischoff. Bischoff, I guess you could say he affected it long term, like both of these have. But the Authority was just so great to watch for a short amount of time that I just love to hate them, which is the whole point of it. So I don't know. I just resonated. I said a lot of it in the first couple rounds,
Yeah.
but I just had to go with the Authority. Leah, who do you have? Eric Bischoff or the Authority?
I'm gonna say Eric because I know that, as we've spoken about already, the effects of what a lot of things that the Authority has done is even translating over to present day, and it's still very prevalent. But I'm gonna go with Eric because it's just like the beginning of the story is just as important as the present, and he's really like he played a really big role into even just having fans look at what a manager is, can be what they will want to see, don't want to see. It's just he fit a really he I'm having trouble phrasing this. He really brought it to our attention the importance of a manager, a general manager, and what they can do and add to pro wrestling. And I gotta give it to him.
Okay, Joel, just say your answer. I know who's winning this.
Did someone say 3 minutes? Of course it's Bischoff, homie. Of course it's Bischoff. And Leo made a great point because he did bring the importance, and we got to see like how important a GM is and why we need one. And if he would have flopped, we probably wouldn't have GMs today.
Yeah.
So he played a pivotal part. Love the Authority, but Bischoff is the general manager. Love Bischoff, man.
That is true. But shout out Eric Bischoff. He won the entire bracket.
This was a tough bracket, man.
It was. I thought it was gonna be tougher after the first round, but I feel like the second round was like it was still as easy. But then the last 2 rounds was like
it became like you had to think about it and like we gotta start making arguments for the people that I keep choosing.
I know.
Like the Stephanie and Bischoff one, I was like, oh man.
Yeah, you could have made the argument for both, but I was like, I know Eric Bischoff had to win some way. So
Bischoff's the guy, man.
Yeah, he is the guy. He is. But Eric Bischoff is the greatest GM between the 3 of us. But thank you, Leah, for coming on again. We appreciate you.
Woo!
You're welcome. We would not have got this done without you. Where can people find your content and follow you on social medias? What's your usernames?
So I am just Wrestle Lia, just like the name I have on here. I'm on Instagram. I'm on YouTube. I just started my YouTube channel, so subscribe. Hey, and I'm on TikTok.
Nice. We're definitely gonna leave all your socials in the description of the YouTube video so that they can go follow you and subscribe to you.
Yeah, everybody go show some love.
Exactly. She made a YouTube. That's a good thing.
Yeah, definitely.
So we want to get that to 1,000, 2,000, 2 million. So go subscribe to.
Go show some love. Go watch some content.
Exactly.
Oh, one more thing for my followers too. Please follow these guys as well. They are amazing. And when I clip and make my videos too, I'll be sure to add you all as well. So follow them. They have great content.
Appreciate that.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Awesome. But yeah, this was season 3, episode 6 of the Fanatic Brackets. Nick, Joel, and Leah. and we will see you guys next episode.
Catch ya.